It's 7:40. Let's do this. Because sometimes we need inspiration, followed up by encouragement. That's also being part of the neighborhood. Good evening. I'm David Aldrich, Chief Meteorologist of WTKR News 3 Television, and you're watching First Warning Live, a Kaboom, connecting some weather dots. I've got some things that'll make your mind melt. It did Kurt Williams last week. If I can melt Kurt Williams's mind with some kind of story, which I'm going to share with you tonight, whenever you watch this, I encourage you to stick around, especially if you're from Hampton Roads. It could make you go, oh my goodness, I didn't know that. Oh yes, but this is sponsored by Marco's Pizza. I don't want you to forget that we have some great pizza. If you're interested in weather, you've come to the right place. If you're interested in something to eat, Marco's Pizza wants to serve you. We're giving away free pizza with this platform. We'll be giving a new winner for pizza for a year on Thursday. Go to WTKR.com/Marcos. It's very easy. They've got 3 convenient locations in Virginia Beach that are participating in the contest, as well as one in Chesapeake and one in Norfolk. I do love the fact that they have the great Pozzoli, which is a great lunch item. That's part of the deal of the week. And don't forget the Magnifico, the Pepperoni Magnifico, great pizza. But the pizza certificate looks like this. We're going to, probably now that we've moved into July, look, I'm circling July here. Yeah, that means if you have a certificate, you could get a new pizza tonight. And it won't cost you a cent. Love it. It's a one-topping deal. But if you want something to save some money now, real easy, it is WTKR David. If you go to Marcos.com, they will be able to save you about half. It's usually about $9.95 or so, but it's $5 now if you use the promo code. I'm a big fan of the pepperoni and sausage, but you may prefer the buffalo chicken or the chicken bacon ranch. That's also delicious. Just check it out. By the way, we've got to get to the weather because I do want to talk about the fact that storms have been pretty much absent, even though this is the holiday week of 4th of July, hence the word kaboom put into the T's there. It is actually right now 96 as far as the feels like in Virginia Beach, 96 in Hampton, and 92 in Franklin, because the temperatures in the white box represent the actual temperature, but the ones that are in the blue boxes represent the feels like. So it feels like about 100 in Edenton, feels like 89 in Manteo. If we carry this one step further in Norfolk, it feels like 98 right now, despite the fact that it's only 90 right now at the moment. So a lot to take in here. I would love to get your comments. We got a good feedback. I got some good comments that came in yesterday from the neighborhood weather watchers. Some of you might have seen that episode. That was episode 23. I can't believe it, but this is First Warning Live, like number 24. Got them all on my YouTube channel. But I want to show you this because this was kind of neat. This was not something I expected, but we had a great response from Jim Becker. He said, oh, good job. Thank you, Jim. He came to the station, by the way. He even got the clicker. He even had a chance to stand in front of the green wall with the garage door opener and advance the maps. He was a natural. Jim, you did great. Both Miles and Dara all thought you did great. And by the way, we had other comments coming in from Gary Gaines. He was also here. He says, I really appreciated the meet and greet on Saturday, June 28th. He says it was great to see the meteorologists and the neighborhood weather watchers, which I think this was the first time to meet and greet. He says it was informative and fun. And because I went to Elizabeth City the very next day, Kathy is from Elizabeth City. Her and her husband Vernon were there, and they said we really enjoyed the meet and greet, gave me a real appreciation for the job, all that you do. Meeting our weather watchers and meteorologists was awesome. It made my day. When I read comments like that, that makes me happy. And she also noted, she said, thanks for the spotlight. So I love, you'll be able to see some pictures from Elizabeth City behind me as we continue on this path known as the weather. Let me get to that too. Let's get back to full screen, because I know some of you are like, what was the high today? 94. You mean it was 94? You said it was going to be 95. I know. Give me some little leeway, right? It's kind of like when you play golf. I mean, who do you know scores an 18 on golf? Maybe putt-putt. Maybe if you could avoid the windmill, might get an 18 in putt-putt. Come on, off by 1 degree. You said it'd feel like 103. Felt like 100. And by the way, the record today was 100 from 1901, back when William McKinley was president. Who looks that stuff up? I do. That's kind of what I do. But Elizabeth City hit 91. You were 10 degrees shy of your record high today. Wallops Island had a Wallops high of a 92. That was shy of the 97 record, and Cape Hatteras hit 86. If you look at the records, I mentioned 1901. That is going back a long time ago. We felt like 100, but it was actually only 94. So for 94, keeping records if you're playing the home game version, I thought you would appreciate that. But we got to talk about the storms. You've ignored the severe thunderstorm watch. No, I haven't. No, I haven't. Here it is. It's for Middlesex County. That's about it as far as the TV audience as a whole, because basically we have counties that used to be, back in the day, you had an antenna on your roof. Am I going too far back? Yeah, we have counties on TV, on the TV side, that typically can tune us in, but if you're watching this on the internet, you can watch us anywhere. You might be in Middlesex County, you might be in Richmond, you might be in southern Delaware. We have a severe thunderstorm watch in effect until 9 o'clock tonight, and right now it's 7:46. Based on the clock I'm watching. And as we look, there is a front, slow moving as it goes. Slow moving, but this front's going to be slow to get in here. It's going to be slow to leave. So if you're tapping your foot going, where are the storms you called for? Well, they're over here. Where's here? I'm looking at maybe central Virginia. I'm looking up there toward maybe around the nation's capital, but it's not raining in Hatteras per se. It's not raining in Nags Head or Virginia Beach or Wakefield. But these are where the storms are right now. Rodanthe looks fine. Franklin, you look fine. But if you go up here and spin this on the side, I mean, where are they going? They're going this way, right? They're going this way. So if you're trying to track it, they're going this way, and they're not necessarily moving in your neighborhood necessarily at the moment. Does that make sense? I'm trying to just illustrate this is a fluid, dynamic situation that what you see here tonight could be over your neighborhood tomorrow, and you're going to say, man, I wish I had my umbrella. You're going to wish you have your umbrella for tomorrow for many reasons, as I will explain here in a moment. Right now, the Storm Prediction Center, it might be overkill to have a Hosky, Franklin, and Virginia Beach and Norfolk in the level 1 threat. That's isolated or spotty. I don't think it's out of the realm of possibility to have Williamsburg included or Exmoor, because I think the threat is primarily up here. It's north. Right? Now this will carry us into 8 o'clock tomorrow morning, but some of those storms could make it to the eastern shore, could make it toward Williamsburg. We'll have to wait and see. But right now, that's what's in place. To translate this even simpler, damaging wind is top of mind. We could get some flooding potential because when it rains, it pours. And then large hail and tornado really down on the spectrum. I don't think that's really the issue, but there could be a few spots of some damaging wind. If you're on the call, we'd love to say hi to you as I'm trying to read some newer comments that might have just come in on the live stream. We're trying to do our best to get everybody on the screen as best you can. Katrina Gay says, have a wonderful evening, everyone. And Denmark's excited. He's got some pizza and he's got some sunshine. I've got to get you guys on the screen here. Bear with me. I'll do my best to highlight you as we continue on. The severe weather threat tomorrow is a nothing burger. But wait a minute. That's confusing. Some people are like, wait a minute, you said it's going to rain on Wednesday. I did, but there's no severe threat tomorrow. There's not. Now, think about this. We're not going to have 58, 60 mile an hour winds tomorrow. We're just not. We have a blank map, but we are going to get a lot of rain, like watching a car wash sponge ring out over your neighborhood or mine. That's just the way it's going to play out. So my concern is with the high dew points, high atmosphere, it's going to be the story. Even though it's not severe by the true definition of damaging winds, Wednesday and Thursday look like nothing to see here. And on Thursday, there might be some spots of rain. That's about it. I don't expect more than that. Let's go back to the bigger map because some of you like to see this. This is what's going on right now. I've got these little orange polygons in places like Montana. They got a severe thunderstorm well south of Great Falls, southeast of Rapid City. They've got some severe weather there in oranges. How do you know it's severe? Because I can tell. They were all labeled for me. Jackson County till 6:15. I guess that would be Central Time, maybe Mountain Time, depending on the state I'm looking at. But we go back to the east. We got some severe weather going on in parts of Virginia, North Carolina. This specifically might be affecting family that you know of. This is around the city of Danville, Caswell, Halifax, Pennsylvania, and Rockingham till 8:45 for possibility of 60 mile an hour winds. So that's where the storms are. We even have a tornado warning. It looks like well out of reach from our viewing area. This would be Calvert, St. Mary's till 8:15. That affects about 35,000 people. And looks like some other severe thunderstorm warnings in the nearby counties. So there's active weather, but by the time it gets here, in maybe the overnight or maybe tomorrow afternoon, it may be slow to exit the region. Does that make any sense? I'm trying my best to keep this fluid. I'm multitasking at the same time, so bear with me. I want to make sure I get all the comments on the screen and mention that there are opportunities for you to get half off your Pozzoli. If you haven't tried a Pozzoli, it's kind of like a calzone. It's delicious, and you really owe it to yourself to give it a try. It's only $5. You're going to spend more than that in the drive-thru. I do know that, but I don't want you to go to the drive-thru. Check out marcos.com. Okay, got a note from Katrina. She's on here. She says, hello. Have a wonderful evening, everyone. Thank you, Katrina. I love your pictures, by the way. She is also a member of our WTKR photographers page. We have a Facebook page devoted strictly to some great pictures that are taken by local Hampton Roads, Northeast North Carolina folks. So thank you for that note. Also, I want to check out this other comment. Kim, she's I think she's holding me accountable. She says, good evening, David. To come back on camera. She says, good evening. I'm waiting on this cooler weather. It's coming. Tomorrow we'll be lucky to crack 85. 85. Today was 94. That's a 9-degree drop. Now, it's not necessarily like autumn. It's not cool and crisp like it's time for football season. No, we're not there yet. But hang in there, Kim, because I can tell you that it's going to be cooler. We'll be lucky to hit 85 tomorrow. And I'm very happy that you're here because having these conversations with you are meaningful. Some of you might watch this live stream minutes later. Some of you may watch it hours later, days later. Whenever you watch it, I encourage you to stay to the end because I'm going to make your head melt. Boom, kaboom. I've got a big bomb to drop. You're going to say, really? I didn't know. You have that connection? It kind of surprised Kurt Williams. And Kurt Williams, he was already surprised that he was on a magazine on Madlock, but I digress. I gotta keep moving. I know it's now 7:51, and I gotta finish my presentation on the weather part of it. So let's get back to that as we continue to watch these storms behind me. That's what we're watching, some severe weather off to the distance. Now we have a new, well, not quite, it's not new. It's the same area of interest from yesterday, but the percentage has gone up. Yesterday, either side of Florida, the Hurricane Center had a 20% chance. Now, because the front's stalling, and once a front goes into this particular part of the Gulf Stream, it's going to likely have a chance to grow, and so the probability has increased. It could be tropical, it could be subtropical, but it could rain itself out. We'll wait and see. We already had Andrea northeast of Bermuda a week ago today, and then we had Barry. Barry hit Mexico this past weekend. And the third name on the list is Chantal, and we'll see how she plays out, but she could be the next named storm. And if you're on the list, maybe Dexter, Aaron, Ferdinand, or Gabrielle, we have a Gabby here, works at the station. There'll be some folks that'll be like water cooler talk. Hey, did you know? You're like possible hurricane this year. Some people like that. Some people don't like it at all. That's just the way it goes. And we have a Katrina Gay. She used to be a very formidable hurricane down in New Orleans, but those were many years ago. So maybe the time and distance, maybe people are not too sensitive to names, but we will not be using Katrina again or Helene, which was, of course, last year's big monster that hit western North Carolina. Now, it is the 1st of July. I want to point this out. 1st of July means that today, we're getting closer toward the peak season. It usually peaks around the 10th of September. That's what you see here illustrated. And I'm talking about, it doesn't mean it's hitting the United States, but out in the Atlantic, there's usually around the 10th of September a peak in development. That's based on history. That's why we call it tropical climatology, the study of the climate. Now, turning rainy at times tomorrow, that's a key. Independence Day, bright sunshine, only a stray shower chance. Pleasant summer weekend, near 90 degrees. That's my expectation. If you look at the rainfall amounts, I mentioned this yesterday, we were statistically pretty even. We picked up 4 1/3. We normally see about 4.43, a difference of a tenth of an inch. And we did pick up 0.14 of an inch of rain over this past weekend. So far, no rain in July. As of now, 7:54 at the evening time frame. By the way, ocean temperatures, if you're keeping track, 73 in June, now it's 78 in July. And you say, you mean it jumped up 5 degrees just since yesterday? Well, probably not. We had 7 or 8 days in a row, or 8 of the last 9, now 9 out of the last 10 days in the 90s. So that tends to move us back into the bathwater stages of July and August. So if you're coming to Virginia Beach, you're coming to the Outer Banks, you will be impressed. The water feels great. Make sure that you're mindful, rip currents, Rip current deaths typically occur on the unguarded beaches, and they usually occur when the guards have gone home for the day. That's what I'm reading from the National Weather Service. So it's important that we look out after each other and look out after our neighborhoods. Did you know we hit 95 yesterday? Yes. Maybe you were aware that 99 was the hottest day. That was last Thursday. But above normal was 18 and 12 below. And now we can probably add now the 94 for July 1st. That's a 1 day above normal for the new month. So if you're keeping track, as I like to do, 91 on April 6th. We had 2 days in May, 12 whopping days in June, and now 1 day at 90. So we have a grand total, was it 14, 15, 16? If my math is correct, we have had now 16 days at above 90, 90 or higher. And we typically see about a month's worth. I'm going to circle this for us. That's 36.2. That comes from the National Weather Service in Wakefield based on 30-year averages. That's why we don't get whole numbers. That's why this says 14 and a half and not 15. But that's just the way it goes. And again, 16 days so far this calendar year. If you're on the call, I want to say hi to you. I've got some other comments that might be trickling in. See, Marilyn says, oh, does Dog Day start today? I guess you could say that. For us, it started days ago. It started weeks ago, Marilyn. But yeah, I think there is that element of Dog Days of summer. Feel like it's come upon us, no question about that. Let's see here. I got a note from Katrina. She says, is it Jim Cantori? Is that the surprise? The both of you guys are great. No, actually, I had a chance to meet Jim. And for those of you who watch a lot of these live streams, I met him in Norfolk. I met him. In fact, I got the thumbnail in here somewhere. I know he's in here somewhere. But the chance to meet him was a thrill because I, like you, had been watching him for years on the Weather Channel. But he actually was the here he is. So he was in Norfolk in 2016. I'm over here, just to give you some context, Katrina. That's me here. And what's funny is that Jim right here, when he comes to a town, a lot of people begin to get fearful. They're like, oh, we must have some bad weather coming if Jim's coming to town. But I also had a chance in the same conference at the NWA to meet Ginger Z. But no, the one I'm going to share with you coming up is going to Kaboom. If you're from Hampton Roads, you're going to be like, oh, no way. Yes way. So hang with me. I don't want to give it all away, but we got to finish the maps here. It's 7:57, excuse me. I encourage you to download the free First Warning Weather app, the News 3, also the NOAA Weather Radio. It's very helpful to have two sources of information so that you keep the notifications flowing when you lose power from your phone because you forgot to charge it. It's very important that you keep the information coming. Temperature right now, 90 in Portsmouth. It's 88 in Carrollton. We have 88 degrees in Newport News and 84 in Kitty Hawk. It feels like 88 Kitty Hawk, feels like 96 in Hampton, and it feels like 96 in Chesapeake. The dew points are the culprit. With all this moisture in the air, it's not going to take much for it to, when it rains, it pours. So when you see dew points above 70, in most cases, it's going to make for a very sticky day tomorrow, despite the fact that it's quote-unquote cooler, right? 94 today, 85 tomorrow. But because of the humidity, still going to be high and still going to be sticky. That means that we're going to have probably a lot of rain to work with precipitable water running anywhere from 1.5 inches to 2 inches. That means a lot of water could suddenly show up at your doorstep. Dew points are in the mid-70s for Hatteras. Are you kidding me? No, that's where they are. And Myrtle Beach, 73. All the way up to New York at 73. Where there is some drier air would be Indianapolis right now. But again, that's not here, that's over there. Temperatures in Knoxville right now, 73. I don't know if you're getting some storms right now. We can look at that a little bit later. But right now in Virginia Beach, it's 89, and it's 89 in Raleigh at the moment. Keeping a track on these comments. Also wanted to show you the national scene. While it's 110 in Phoenix, it is 110 in Phoenix and 99 in Las Vegas. They love to say it's a dry heat because they live in the land of single-digit dew points. Did you say that right? No, they don't get single-digit dew points in New Orleans. No, that's just the opposite. It's sticky down there. But when you're away from the Gulf, basically away from the Gulf, you got 99. In Vegas, it feels very, very sticky. Okay, a couple other comments that might be trickling in. I got some other notes here. Let me see if I can pop somebody else on here. Oh, Katrina liked the picture. I'm glad you liked it, Katrina. I've got some more. Mine's going to blow, right? This is 4th of July week. The fireworks are going to blow, and some of you are going to like, oh, I didn't know that. Oh, and so that's why people love to say, you're supposed to be here. I've heard that. I've even heard that again recently this week for a whole other reason. Okay, who else? Mike, let's see here. Mike's got a comment about Elizabeth City. Ooh, he says it's not bad in Elizabeth City tonight. Thank you, Mike. Appreciate Mark. I love the fact that we can put your name and your comment, the picture that Facebook provides us. Love to put that on the screen. And I'm just doing this for an illustration for anyone who might want to suggest or put their comment. I would love to put it on the screen. All right, let's get you back to wrap up the forecast here. We got temperatures all over the country, all over the map. I want to show you where we're going over the next 10 days. This is a great map that shows some of the cool air in Canada that's trying to drop down. I always like to say the future doesn't always equal the present. So if it's sticky now, that doesn't mean it's going to be sticky like for the rest of July. This is the first day of the month. There is some cooler air. It's going to ebb and flow. It is typically, as we saw from that graph, the hottest month for 90s. We typically get 15 if you round the 14 and a half up. 15 days, which is half of July, essentially. So we usually expect that. This is when you would expect to have the hot like a firecracker weather. But if we get a pullback every once and again, it can make life a little easier. That was what's represented picture there from July 11th. By the way, tomorrow, here's my planner. I think you're going to wake up to a lot of clouds. What are you looking at? I'm looking at this right here. You're going to find the temperature's about 79. Sun's up at 5:50 now. Goes to bed at 8:28 still, but 82 at noon. It's the afternoon that's going to be soggy. So you might be like me, where I go, honey, where did I put my umbrella? Well, where's my umbrella? Wherever you put it, honey, something like that. That conversation that doesn't go anywhere. So if you figure out it's in your vehicle, it's in your car, great, because you're going to want it. 85 is going to be sticky, but it's going to be one of those gully washers. You like that? Toad strangler, whatever. So I've never heard those expressions. It's going to be heavy rain in spots simply because we have high dew points. If that surprises you, I'm sorry to tell you that, but it's not going to be like a sprinkle. It's going to come down. When it rains, it will pour tomorrow. That's what I'm trying to tell you. Since this is first warning, I want to give you the first warning. We are now just 3 days away from Independence Day. Wouldn't it be nice to have an Independence Day forecast? Could you see if you could muster one of those, Aldrich? Yeah, here it is. 81 at 9, 87 at 1, and 5 o'clock, 89. I left a 10% chance for a shower along the Outer Banks. It's really not much of a chance, but it's still there. By 9 o'clock, when fireworks are getting ready to go up into the sky, I think we'll be around 80 degrees. Does that help? I'm just trying to help out. What is this? This is just like Tuesday. And this is going to be, of course, Independence Day, which is Friday. So I want you to be prepared for temperatures in the upper 80s for the actual holiday itself. But we don't have to stop there. Why would we stop there? You've got a weekend that goes beyond the 4th, most likely. 89 on Saturday, 90 on Sunday. It's now 8:02. I got to keep moving. Plus, I got to give the old kaboom and also all my good stuff from Marcos. I got to give away. By the way, temperature trend, we're going to be close to normal. And you say, what am I looking at? I'm looking at this right here. Normal high is 89 this time of year. And I see 89, I see 89. I mean, it's pretty comparable to normal. The coolest day for Kim is tomorrow. And I know it doesn't last long, but like I said, I didn't want to make a big promise. I just was saying, hey, this is what I see. And I was talking about that a week ago Monday. I said, hey, probably by the time we get closer to the 4th, it might not be as oppressive. Rain chances are elevated tomorrow. There's no doubt about that, and it's because we have an 80% chance of storms, 80% chance, I should say, of rain, but then it trails off, 20% Thursday, 10% on Friday. I don't see much on Saturday at all, but might come back maybe along the Outer Banks on Sunday if you happen to be out on a boat or you happen to be out at the beach. Here's where I expect to be for the pool. Sure, you can get in the pool maybe somewhere between maybe and no. A maybe here and a no here. I guess because once it starts in the afternoon, you'll be like, get out of the pool. It's heavy rain. So I think you're okay if you're going to hang out at the pool Thursday, Friday. No good. I mean, it's still good. These are all good days. The one that's maybe a no, somewhere between a maybe and a no would be Wednesday. I know it's a bit over the top, but that's the pool forecast. And here's how much rain is projected. This is like heavy duty, right? Almost 2 inches in purple. So if you have precipitable water that's just waiting to be unleashed, you could pick up 2 inches of rain tomorrow. And I'm more concerned about the rainfall rate. It's the rainfall rate that I'm most concerned about. It's going to come down in buckets. So whether you're really close or really far away, you're like, this water's a lot. It's coming down fast. And that's why I think you need to be ready, because that's the story tomorrow. By this time tomorrow, you'll be like, some of you, make it stop. And I'll say, I tried to tell you it's going to rain hard, and you need to find the umbrella now. Maybe if it's not in your vehicle, haven't found one in a while. Maybe it hasn't rained in your house in a long time. But if you pick up an inch in the Outer Banks, wouldn't surprise me. If If you pick up 1.3 inches or thereabouts in the south side, wouldn't surprise me, and some purple areas may be closing in on 2. Now, if you're on the path, maybe you're on the road, regionally speaking, maybe an inch for Raleigh, maybe a little more than an inch for Cape Charles, maybe lesser amounts the further north you go, like Richmond or Roanoke, because they're getting hammered with rain right now. Let's talk about the eastern shore. Temperatures tomorrow about 79 in Onancock. Notice the really low UV index is only a 4. That's pretty low because we're going to have more clouds. It won't necessarily be one of those high burn days where you feel like it's a UV index of 9, 10, or 11. But the Outer Banks, about 84 for Kill Devil Hills, Nags Head 84, and Manio 84 degrees. It's now 8:05, 83 in Hatteras, 84 for Ocracoke, Rodanthe about 84 tomorrow with at least, I think, about a 70 or 80% chance of rain for the Outer Banks. Storm Prediction Center, we talk about these colors. The dark green means isolated. The yellow means scattered. From now until 8 o'clock tomorrow morning, there's some hot spots out west. I'm looking at Montana, Idaho, scattered around Rapid City, South Dakota. Go back to the south. If you have family and you're in the military, you might have family everywhere or anywhere. I'm looking at Mississippi, Alabama. If you're flying in out of Atlanta tomorrow morning, they could have some issues. Knoxville, Harriman, Sunbright, you could have an isolated severe storm between now and tomorrow morning. And up toward New England, Albany, Boston, Hartford. Really, the scattered is this yellow area from D.C., Baltimore, Dover, and South Jersey, even the Big Apple. But it really kind of cuts right through parts of North Carolina, at least northeast North Carolina, with a Husky, which might be overplayed. Because come tomorrow, most of the coloring is gone across the lower 48. Yes, there's still some hot spots in Montana, Idaho, parts of Oregon. There's still some isolated possibilities in Chicago or north of. Waterloo, Minneapolis, Green Bay, and there's maybe nothing going on here other than except that we're getting the heavy rain. Because this is where it's misleading. Even though we're not, I repeat, we're not listed under any coloring tomorrow, I do want to just caution you that when it rains, it pours. We've already seen that projected with what's going to be coming into play. It's the rainfall rate that will catch a lot of people off guard tomorrow. Meanwhile, the severe weather threat up across the Dakotas, that would be Thursday, isolated in places like Chicago and Milwaukee for Thursday, and up toward and upstate New York, the Big Apple, New England, and parts of Pennsylvania, but nothing Thursday for severe weather here. So let's go through this. I want to show you this first because this gives you an idea. Now, 9 o'clock, you'll notice it's well up north of I-95. Where it does dip down would be 11 o'clock tonight. So if, and it's a big if it comes down, I'll go ahead and show you this full screen because I want you to be able to see this. If it drops down to Exmoor or Williamsburg, it's likely to do so before 11 o'clock. But what happens at like 2 or 3 in the morning? It basically disappears because then by 7 a.m., most of us are dry once again. So it's really going to lock and reload for the afternoon. You can see all the red dots, maybe not at 9, but if we advance the map till 12 noon, now you're beginning to see, okay, we got a red spot here, which would mean heavy rainfall rates. Expand this to noontime and then go, oh, there's a lot over here. There's also in parts of the Tar Heel State and right through Norfolk as well. Take this full screen so you can see what I'm talking about. But these heavy rain pockets at 3 o'clock will continue on south of Elizabeth City, possibly around Norfolk, Virginia Beach, Exmoor, Cape Charles. Everybody is fair game for a downpour tomorrow simply because of the high level of moisture or high dew points. It's just a function of what you can expect. And by 11 o'clock tomorrow night, it's all pretty much done. That doesn't mean you can't get a spot of rain on Thursday because there's 12 noon. I see some spots. I even see a few extra spots at 5 o'clock, but not nearly the intensity of what you're going to get tomorrow. So tomorrow's the day where if you've been hoping for rain for the cucumbers, the tomatoes, the eggplant, the cantaloupe, the watermelon, whatever you happen to be growing, it's going to, or the lawn. Maybe it's just your grass you're trying to water. You're going to get some big help from Mother Nature tomorrow. By the way, it's 8:09 just about. Temperatures in the mid to upper 70s. That's where we're going to be headed. Highs tomorrow about 80 for Suffolk. Wait a minute, I thought you said 85. Oh, some of you won't even get out of the 70s. How about them apples? 79 in a Husky, 79 in Wakefield, Williamsburg about 80. I got us at 85. That might be pie in the sky. Moyock 82, Hereford 83, 84 for Nags Head. We'll have to wait and see. But if we could cool things down for Kim, I think she would be happy. Wednesday afternoon, we're in the mid 80s. Some will struggle to get out of the upper 70s. And here's your first warning. WTKR News 3 7-day forecast. 85 tomorrow. 90 on Thursday. The 4th of July looks great at 89. Because these dew points and overnight lows are still in the low 70s, we're not really going to get a break from the humidity. But hey, we'll take some cooler days, 89 here, 89 here. That would be nice just to break it up. But then once we go into next week, we're going to be talking about triple-digit heat indices. They will come back. When you got lows in the mid-70s and highs in the mid-90s, it won't take much to get, feels like that's closer to 100. All right, I want to make sure you have caught the deal of the week. I don't know if you know, but you can pick up a Pozzoli. If you're hungry like me, and after giving that presentation, I could probably I could handle a Pozzoli right now. I could, definitely. $5. All you have to do is use our promo code WTKR and my name in the checkout. So if you go to marcos.com, and my favorite is the pepperoni and sausage. Check it out. We'd also like to give you free pizza for a year. That's really cool. All you have to do is simply go to our website, WTKR.com/Marcos. We'll be announcing another winner this Thursday. We've been giving away single pizzas. Oh, did I mention? I don't know if I mentioned this. I should come back on. You know our weather watchers that came in on Saturday? They had free Marcos pizza. It was here. They had Marcos pizza on hand during the course of, I think I have it right here. They had, not only did they get Marcos pizza, but they also got a certificate that's coming in the mail. They're going to get another free pizza from Marcos. That's how much Marcos loves weather and loves our weather watchers. You can see they were enjoying some pizza over here. This is Scott David, and this, of course, this is Jim Becker, who was saying we did a good job. So hopefully that makes some sense, but I love the fact that Marcos is community-oriented, and they're also wanting to give back to our neighbors. So there you go. All right, so let me finish up the happy shots here. This is the forecast. Mentioned 85 tomorrow. Make sure you know where the umbrella is. This is the Virginia Beach sunrise from VB Sunrise. That's their moniker. Maybe it's for tourism, but that's what they captured and shared it with us on our WTKR photographers page today. Williamsburg this is from Marvin. The Colonial Williamsburg has a beautiful picture with some scattered cumulus clouds. Last but not least, Stumpy Lake in Virginia Beach. Thank you, Miranda Barker, for sharing that beautiful picture with us. I appreciate that very, very much. Okay. All right, I've got to reset here mentally here. It's now 8:11, almost 8:12. I want to recap a couple of things before I get into when I last started talking about. I'll set up this situation here as I get my mind in notes here. Last time I was talking about a magazine. This really got all started where I started talking about a magazine that's on a Madlock episode that has Kurt on it. What was really weird is that Andy Griffith's reading this Outer Banks magazine in only like 1 or 2 episodes. And one of those episodes is the one with me in it. That's what caused people to think weird. That's really weird. Now, that kind of weirded out Kurt a bit. Kurt, as you may know, Kurt has been a really long-standing anchor here. Has been here since 1987. He just won an Emmy. I'm very pleased to be able to work with Kurt. But Kurt and I are on the evening news, so I encourage you to check out the newscast each and every night. We're on at 5 and 6 and 11. But what's amazing about Kurt is he had gone through prostate cancer. He shared this, had the cameras follow him into the hospital. And what's amazing is that he just won an Emmy. People were saying, hey, you saved my life. Men were coming out of the woodwork saying, hey, because of your vulnerability, because you got tested, I got tested, and so forth. So that's how helping the neighbors work. And I was trying to follow Kurt's lead when I started sharing or maybe oversharing some of my story. So let me go back just real quick. I talked about Huntington, talked about my mom, I talked about trailers. Where was this? This is where I left off. Talked about the Honey Wagon trailer. This is like a status symbol when you're in Hollywood, right? Because I had an acting background. I wouldn't want to be in one of these things when there's a tornado coming. No matter how cool they might be, you get to be in there, you get to read your script, take a nap, have your clothes pressed and all the rest. But one of the things I quickly learned, having been on the set, is that I was grateful for the job. And I want to publicly recognize a couple of people in my life: John Ward, Mark Fincannon, Craig Fincannon. These are the people I met in Wilmington and Chapel Hill days that I never would have known that there was studios down there in Wilmington, North Carolina. That's where I met, how I met Andy in that respect because of the job. But it was years later I got into weather. I think it was 2 years later. This is where this is, just so you know, this was who I used to be. This was my calling card, right? You had to have a headshot, you go on auditions, that was kind of what you did. You had to wait in your trailer because they had to set up the lights, the camera, and all the rest. So fast forward 2 years, okay? Fast forward 2 years, I had a chance to work at a TV station. Now this is where it gets weird. If you're in Hampton Roads, how many of you know the name Dave Parker? Dave Parker. Dave Parker. The Dave Parker? You're talking about the Dave Parker? You mean the chief that was here for 10 years? Yes, because we had Patrick Rocky. But before that, if I'm not mistaken, if I've done my homework, Dave Parker. I have a picture of Dave Parker right here. This is Dave Parker. Dave Parker was the chief, if I understand correctly, from July 1997 to July 2006. You know Dave Parker? I do know Dave Parker, but he probably doesn't know me, certainly not like a weatherman, because I worked at a TV station in where? Wait for it, Huntington? Yes, Huntington. Oh, you're going back to Huntington. Yes, we got to go back to Huntington. Remember there used to be one state, now there are two? Yeah, that's a history lesson unto itself, but I wanted to go back to the fact that my dad drives from Charleston to Huntington. I drive from Huntington to Charleston. We find our spouses 35 years apart. Amazing stuff. But in Huntington is a station called WOWK Television. It is, I believe, the address is 555 Fifth Avenue. I worked at Channel 3 WSAZ, which is 635 Fifth Avenue. They're only like a few blocks apart. But Dave Parker was the chief meteorologist. After 2 years, drum roll please, I had just done this Madlock episode, right? And I didn't have a job. I was struggling to figure out how am I going to pay the bills. So I went back to Huntington, hung out with my grandparents. That was what you kind of did when you didn't have a job. But I ended up meeting my inspiration, Dave Parker. And of course, my encouragement was Jim Castillo. Both of these meteorologists were working at WOWK at the time. And I point this out because Dave Parker, he is absolutely the first meteorologist I had ever seen in person. Now think about this. The weather watchers will really appreciate this because I was the teleprompter operator. And if you know anything about weather, you don't use the teleprompter. What you need to do is have it flipped over so you can see yourself and know where to point, because it's hard to know where you're pointing. So I got a picture of that. Miles Henderson was doing that for our weather watchers just the other day on Saturday, and I believe that's right here. So put this on the screen here. Now this is Miles. Bear with me. The teleprompter chair, because a lot of them don't do it anymore, would sit here. This is the teleprompter where the words come up on the screen. Now in this day and age, they use a foot pedal. The anchors actually use a foot pedal or remote control. And so Miles is explaining to Jim Becker here, and here's Kathy, explaining to the magic of a teleprompter. Now, back in the mid-90s, I was sitting over here. I was sitting in the teleprompter chair. And Dave Parker came on. He was professional, he was smooth, he was informative, he was funny. I mean, to be honest with you, I watched him and I thought, wow, I said, it's like that stuff rubs off on you. I thought, I wish I could do something like that. That's what got me thinking. Now, I was only there a couple of months, 2.5, 3 months at best in Huntington before I ended up moving back to Raleigh and enrolling at NC State. So the whole process of going from the performance side to the weather side to me seems seamless. But to be able to see someone like Dave Parker do it with such ease, when I told Kurt this story, I said, Kurt, it's possible that I knew Dave, and I didn't know him well. I said, it's possible I worked with Dave before you did. And he was like, no way. Yes way. Kurt's on the center here, and there's Dave, there's Kurt, a few years younger. But again, what's amazing to me is that sometimes we need an inspiration in our life, and whether he knows it or not, Dave Parker was that for me. Now, to be fair, Jim Castillo, he went on to some really great things. Jim Castillo went on to Fox New York. He worked in Seattle. He's worked in LA. I believe he's in St. Louis now, and he had the acting bug a little bit too. I believe he's in like a Criminal Minds episode. He's been in some things too. So we got along great. But Jim said to me something I will never forget. He was my encouragement. I looked at Dave and I'm thinking, I could kind of see myself doing it, but I didn't have the math. I didn't have the science. It was what Jim sat me down. He said, and maybe sometimes when you say something, you kind of wish later it had gone through the filter. I just said to him, I said, I don't mean to sound pompous or anything. I said, Jim, I think I can do what you're doing. He said, all right, smarty. And he didn't say smarty. I'm just making it a little more friendly here. But he said, all right, smarty, go get a degree. And I was like, I think that's a great idea. It was like a light bulb went over my head. So by the time Dave Parker came here in July of 1997 as the chief, I was an NC State student. Put that into context. By the time he left in July of 2006, I was in Philadelphia working on air. And when I went to NC State, I got a chance to work, as I told you already, which is kind of cool, with this guy, Mike Brennan. He's now the director of the National Hurricane Center. So now you're beginning to see Kaboom connection of weather dots. Wouldn't have met him if I hadn't done this, hadn't done this, hadn't done that. It's true in your life too. Sometimes you need an inspiration. Sometimes you need some encouragement, and it comes from the neighborhood. Somebody in your life could just, you know what, if I could just see myself, because the people you meet, the people you hang out with, it helps shape who we are. It just does. And I'm very excited to be here. This is, like I said, episode 24. If you were missing some of these episodes, you kind of want to connect the dots between Andy Griffith, Burt Reynolds, Robin Williams. All of these people have had an influence on me, maybe good, bad, or indifferent, but either way, I'm excited to be here serving this community at this time, at this point in time. There's my mom with Johnson, Vice President Johnson. I mentioned the fact that I got Robin Williams, and this is me in the corner in the blur. So we have a lot of stories if you're just watching us for the first time. We've covered a lot of ground. I won't belabor it all now, but I am very thankful for the Robert Wimberleys of the world. He's one of our longtime weather spotters, and the fact that we had some spotters come to the station on Saturday because they're serving their community, and that's what I love about doing what we do now. It's about protecting lives and property, but it's about also reaching out to the community that's serving us. We want to be able to recognize them. So anyway, that's it in a nutshell. If you have questions, let me know. I'll do my best. But again, don't forget, I'll have more information about the rain come tomorrow. In the meantime, remember, it doesn't matter if the weather is sunny or the weather is serious. Every day is a gift. Just make the most of it in your neighborhood. We'll see you here next time. Take care.